Hello again, and you're very welcome to another edition of Fashion and Lifestyle. I'm Angie Sutherland, and on this week's programme we're having another one of the Women In features. And on this week's programme I'll be talking to women in tourism, and I'm delighted to have Marion Smith, who's the Acting Tourism Officer for Cavan, and Pauline O'Connell from Millview B&B here with me in the studio. If there's anything you'd like us to feature on the programme, you can email us at drumlinmedia@gmail.com. That's drumlinmedia@gmail.com. So back to tonight, and I'm joined now in the studio by Marion Smith, who's the Acting Tourism Officer for Cavan. Marion, thanks for coming in to join us.
You're welcome.
And so you're the Acting Tourism Officer for Cavan?
That's correct, yeah. I'm there now about 7 months. When Joanne Hayes became pregnant and was going on maternity leave, I suppose following my work with her for FLA for 2 previous years and working on the PR, the management and the promotion of the FLA, working on with the PR team as well, I suppose it was kind of obvious that if somebody was to be brought over to help Joanne in that field, I suppose I was kind of on the cards for that. So the county manager, Jack Keys, saw fit and owned oil that I would go over and take over when Joanne is on maternity leave. Very busy time, Angie, because normally you wouldn't have a FLA Ceol for the 3rd time in Cavan, and of course it being the 3rd year of hosting FLA, expectations were great from an audience point of view. And ourselves, we expected a lot of ourselves as well. So it was actually a very hectic 9 months to date.
And of course you had a great FLA for the last 3 years.
It was fantastic. I mean, the first year was good. The second year was phenomenal. And the 3rd year, it was just went beyond all our expectations. Thankfully, a great working team working together. We're good at what we do in Cavan, you know, Angie. We pride in our work. We're very passionate about it. And most of all, it was lovely promoting our county. And out of that has come a new brand identity of the county, and this has all happened because of FLA, because of the influx of over 300,000 people to our county, you know, and that is something we're very proud of, and that is where tourism is going. We're no longer an inland county forgotten about. We're now an inland county that everybody wants to visit and know about, and that's very important, and that's where we are going at the moment, and we hope indeed to take it further with industry as well as tourism.
So would you say then, Marion, that the FLA has been the anchor almost, or the trigger for putting Cavan?
Well, I suppose we all had great aspirations for our county. But yes, we could say that we became more confident as a result of the comments made by visitors coming to our county for FLA. We were then confident that we really had a county that could surprise you. And we did surprise everybody. And we're still surprised. We have beautiful lakes, people. Our temperament is so calm and welcoming. And that's really what is attracting people to come back. And only today, Angie, in the tourism office, I had 4 tourists there from Florida. Now, they have no affinity with Cavan, they have no relatives in Cavan, but they came to Dublin and they spotted one of our old Let Cavan Surprise You flyers in one of the tourism office in Dublin, and said, oh, Cavan, let's go there. And I mean, I just did a tour, a route for them to travel around the county. You have Cabra Castle, a beautiful forest over there. Then they can come to Virginia, which is a real foodie town. Lovely forest walk there, into Cavan town again, foodie town, down to West Cavan, Nevin Maguire, foodie. We've become a foodie capital of Ireland, not only a county but a capital, and that is big. But we're able to hold that mark.
So is that one of the county's main selling points now, the whole food aspect?
Well, the food aspect would be, of course, as I say, Nevin Maguire would have been the first foodie, to promote the county, but now we have the Old Post Inn. I don't like to name any of those, but we have every town in this county can be proud of its food outlets.
And there is something coming up now on the 1st of November, a Taste of Cavan.
That's correct, yeah. That's spearheaded by my colleague in work, Paddy Connaughton and Magella Tierney. This is a Taste of Cavan, and of course we'll have Nevin Maguire there, and we'll have Paolo Tullio going to taste the wine, and Garrod from the Old Post, and a host of other chefs. And I think there'll be a surprise on the evening. There will be a cook-off by 4 chefs. We shall leave that as being
surprise.
Open and a surprise, but there will be big surprises there, so do tell your viewers in your next programmes to come along, and it will be a lovely day. And not only will you be tasting the products, the food of Cavan, but you'll be seeing other products. I mean, for instance, we will be there, we will have somebody there from genealogy. That we have a very good, I must say, genealogy department within Cavan County Council, one of the best in the country, and Concept is there, always ready and willing to inform people of their routes and bring them along. And she will be there, I'll be there as a tourism stand. We will have a gathering stand. So, I mean, it will be like a big show day, showcase in the county, food and otherwise.
Great, so that's on the 1st of November
That's on the 1st in the Kilmore Hotel, yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
And I suppose then in regard to tourism figures, Mariam, are figures up or down in tourism?
Well, figures are up, and I suppose I can say this would be, you take it in as being part of the FLA. But generally, figures are up. I could say they're up a good 6-7%. Now, and that is big for Cavan, for an inland county. But again, remember, we have the motorways now. You fly to Dublin, you drive to Cavan. Fly to Dublin, you're in Cavan in an hour, 15, 20 minutes. So again, there is the comfort zone of not having to travel 3-4 hours to get to a tourism destination,
So the improved infrastructure has helped tourism.
Absolutely, it has helped, yes, yeah.
And where are tourists coming from? What countries?
Well, they're coming from England, Canada, America. We have a lot of American tourists. We have Germans, Swiss, Italians. We really have them from all over Europe and the States, you know.
And what about the traditional fishermen? Are they still coming?
Yes, they're beginning to come back again. Thankfully, our lakes are clean and they are beginning to come back again. And thankfully, we have some very good bed and breakfast. The fishermen, they're not big into hotels. They do like the bed and breakfast. And thankfully, we have a very good quality bed and breakfast in the county. As well as that, there is value for money. When I say the fishermen don't always go to hotels, maybe some would if they were coming as a family holiday, and there is very good value out there. And again, as I say, they come for the value, the peace, the tranquility, the walks, the food, the entertainment, which is that we have so much to offer.
And what do you see then, Marion, as the tourism officer, are the challenges facing tourism providers?
Well, the challenge really is that we're at a stage now that we have got to go forward. As I say, tourism was generally promoted in the coastal counties, the Donegal, the Cliffs of Moher, Cork, Wexford. But this is where we're coming from when we have promoted and started this here. This is Cavan. This is our teaser tasting brochure that was launched out in the Hotel Kilmore the night of the Cavan Chamber Awards. And this here is a bringing together of ideas from stakeholders where we had workshops out in the Hotel Kilmore. And this here is setting out the beauty of the county and what we have to offer. So now it is up to us to promote that abroad, going to shows in Birmingham, going to Scotland, going to the United States, out there in person and meeting the people and telling them about the good county we have, promoting it, being proud of it, and leaving behind a legacy with them that they want to come and be part of. And of course, that's what the gathering, we hope, will do as well for the county. Okay. The gathering is happening all of next year, 2013. And already there are some small community groups working together to bring home their diaspora, be it in Bonboy or Kinelec or Drumkilly, Virginia, Monteconnet, Kingscourt, Ballybor, wherever, Shercock. So what we would be hoping is, we're forming a committee, and we would hope that when we have all of those diaspora home in their own areas, we will be able to take them into Cavan Town and perhaps have a 3 or 4 day festival event of music, arts, culture. And arts and culture is really the way to go now, and to go with tourism in promoting arts and culture and going hand in hand with tourism, with the beauty that we have, the Tullydermot Falls, the Loch Sheelan, Loch Rammer, Cloch Uachtar, Cloch Uachtar Castle. So it all actually marries very well together. And that's where we're at. And that's the way we have to go tourism-wide. It's not only lakes, it's not only fishing, but it is arts and our culture.
So you're diversifying then?
You are, absolutely. And that's what we have to do. Because remember, you have the Dublin Fringe Arts Festival. That gets people for that. We had Fringe Arts during the FLA. That was a great attraction. We have great talent here. We have the Philip Doherty, we have Aaron Monaghan, we have Shane Connaughton, we have fantastic actors, Derval Crotty. We have all the ingredients to actually have a gathering arts week in Cavan for 2013 that would surpass, be it England, Scotland, anywhere else.
Because I suppose to you then, as the tourism officer, it's your job to go out and promote that to the markets.
Well, absolutely, yes.
Do you go abroad to many shows?
Well, this is the plan for next year, yes. And I know there's a colleague of mine going out to America, I think, shortly. And that would be to promote This is Cavan and to meet with some diaspora out there. And we have great people out there, the John Clancy's and the Connie Rileys. And they come home and they feed us with information and they take information back out. And hopefully next year we will have some CIE tour guides that will come into Cavan. They won't bypass us. That is the plan. it's a challenge, Angie. And, you know, everything in life is a challenge. But that's what makes it worthwhile, when you succeed with the challenge. We have succeeded 3 years bringing people to Cavan, 3 years, wonderful flowers. And I can see, working with the team that we have within Cavan County Council, spearheaded by our county manager, Jack Keys, who has great vision for the county, and my director, Owen Doyle, along with all of my other colleagues, and Katrina in the arts office, Rhonda in the visual arts, coming together. It's a team effort, you know, and that's how we are going to promote this county, is working as a team. And that's what I look forward to. It's a challenge, but I love a challenge.
Great, I'm sure you do, and you're well able to face them, Marion. And then just tell us, on a day-to-day basis then, is the tourist office open all year round?
Oh, it is, yes. I'm there all year round,
okay.
Yes.
So if a tourist arrives, say they drive to Cavan or they arrive on a bus and they come to the tourist office,
yes, and
what services can they get?
They come
there?
in there and they're greeted by Concepta, who is in our genealogy. It's part of it. Concepta has a phenomenal knowledge of Cavan, you know, its history, its culture, where to go, what to do. And then in the event, I would be doing admin, but in the event that they needed more information, or that, you know, she would say, you know, would you like to come out and meet these people? Of course, I would sit down and talk to them. Like today, I spent a half an hour speaking to the people from Florida, but they went away feeling very good and so well looked after, and a good feel factor and a warmth. We have a warmth in Cavan, you know. We have a way of embracing people, and they will go, and hopefully, I said, you know, maybe you would have relatives that will come next year. And that's how you do it. It's really, you know,
and it was all from a flat brochure that they'd seen in Dublin.
It was absolutely.
Great.
So it's amazing how it can happen. You know?
Great. And you mentioned earlier about the new branding. Maybe you can just tell us quickly a little bit about that, or what's planned for the future.
Well, this is Cavan. This is our new branding, and the plan for the future is that this year is what you would call a teaser brochure. And this is Cavan. It's an initiative that sets out really strategically to promote the county, business, tourism and arts. That's just on a broad scale. And what we would hope to do is that we would have this as an information little booklet, as an attractive booklet that we would have in every tourism office in Europe and America, Canada. That is the plan. And hopefully this will attract, and I know it will. It's very colourful, and it is as it is. It's welcoming, and it's warm, and it's attractive.
Great. It looks lovely. Actually, I'm just going to hold it up to the camera there so we can get a little.
This is Cavan,
a better view of it. This is the new brochure.
This
was launched just last week.
That's right. And we have a taste of the landscape and the lakes and the warmth. You can see that anyone who is photographing, they're warm, they're happy, and that's what it is. And that's how you promote your county.
Great. And then I suppose, Marion, just to wrap things up, if there is a tourism provider or indeed a tourist looking on tonight, which hopefully there will be all over the world, how can they get in contact with you?
Well, they can just email me at marionsmith@cavancoco.ie, or go in on our tourism website, or this is cavan.ie.
Great.
Yeah.
Marion, you're doing great work and continued
Thank
success.
you.
And best of luck with the gathering for next year.
Great, and thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Marion.
Great.
So back to tonight now. We have to take a quick commercial break, but join me after the break when I'll be talking to Pauline O'Connell from Milieu B&B.
I'm Gavin Duffy, and I'm saying watch cavantv.com. It's a great opportunity to see some great programs, and you can watch it all around the globe via the internet and on many platforms. I watch it myself. Great stuff.
Welcome back to Fashion and Lifestyle, and I'm joined now in the studio by Pauline O'Connell from Millview B&B. Pauline, thanks very much for joining us.
Hello, Angie.
So Pauline, you have a B&B in Virginia.
Yes, so it's situated on the Ballybor Road in Virginia. And I'm in business about 10 years.
Great. And how many rooms do you have?
I'd have about 3 double rooms. And
Okay.
2 of the rooms would have a double bed and a single bed, and all en suites.
All en suite.
Yeah.
And what made you get into the B&B business?
Well, I'd a couple of sisters got married from London, and they had a lot of guests coming over for the wedding, and I found there was very little accommodation around Virginia at the time. So, and I always liked doing cooking, and you know what I mean. I liked the hospitality end of it. So I decided then about 10 years ago, built on two bed extra bedrooms, and put en suites on or whatever. And
Okay. So what's your typical day then once you have guests staying with you in the B&B?
well, breakfast can start about, well, it depends on how early they want it, maybe 7:30 in the morning until about 10 o'clock, and I'd get up maybe an hour earlier and have my table set, and I normally would ask the guests the night before what would they like, because I do a breakfast menu.
Right.
So for the hot breakfast, so then I'd get everything prepared or whatever, and I'd have my cereals ready or whatever, and then I'd cook up the breakfast and serve it. And then when
And is it the traditional fry up the bacon, the rashers,
yes,
the egg? And
yes, and I do omelettes, and I do poached eggs, waffles, scrambled egg, and things like that. Yeah.
Right. A couple of extras.
Yes. Yeah.
Great.
It's
So
like
once you have the people
variety.
fed, then what's next?
Well, then when the guests leave, I go up and do my rooms out, finish, change the sheets, you know what I mean, clean the bathrooms, the showers, vacuum, dust, and get the rooms ready again. And
Right.
it's hard work.
So would a lot of your customers then, would they come to you for one night or would they stay for a couple of nights?
Well, it would depend. We'll say if it was people that were staying around would stay a couple of nights. I've had guests from Australia that came on spec and they'd stay for 3 or 4 nights, and they'd move on then, or maybe the tour around the area.
Right.
Or a lot of it could be pass and trade to people going to Donegal, we'll say, or parts of the
Right.
west of Ireland.
Right.
They would come to Dublin Airport and get off, the motorway, and they'd call,
Mm-hmm.
'cause we're
And
the
as
first
Marion
time.
was saying earlier, I suppose the whole improved road infrastructure
Yes,
has improved
yes,
probably
and-
your business as well, because
Well-
you're that bit closer to Dublin now.
Yeah, and Virginia would be the first town off the motorway.
Right.
And vice versa, people coming from Donegal direction, or part of the west, would stop off in Virginia and go on to Dublin from there.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And it's only an hour up the road to the airport then, if they have, flight reservations or whatever. Yeah.
And would a lot of people have pre-booked with you, or you mentioned pass and trade earlier on?
I would get, because there's a theatre in Virginia as well, so I'd get a lot of custom from that as well. People come, actors or people that's in the plays come and stay
Anybody
with me.
famous?
Have I had anyone? Well,
you
I
can
don't know.
tell us
I don't know
about?
what you'd call famous. I had Pat Shorts a good few years ago, and I opened
Yeah,
first.
yeah.
He had a week long, and I had him for a couple of nights, and I had a few of the actors from Fair City that
Right.
would have been in the theatre.
Right, right. And is there a lot of competition in B&B accommodation around Virginia?
Well, there's only myself and another within walking distance to the town.
Right.
The hotel in the town doesn't do bedrooms at the moment.
Okay.
And I'd say that's why I'd be kind of busy enough. I'd get a lot to pass and trade or
so
whatever.
there's a bit of a shortage nearly
There
of
would be.
accommodation
I would
then
say
in
there would
Virginia.
be. Yes.
Right,
Yeah.
okay. And what are the challenges then, Pauline, that face you? You're in business now, you said just over 10 years. So what do you see is different now between now and when you started?
Well, I'd find we'll say off peak times I would lower my prices and do deals. You know what I mean, and try and leave it because of the recession. Leave it
Yeah.
more
Competitive.
practical and competitive for people.
Yeah.
For people as well. And still, I would have lowered my prices because people don't have the money as much anymore. You know what I mean? And they're very happy. Even I've had a couple of Americans now earlier on today called and they say how much much is it? So I would give them a lower price than I would normally, and they're quite happy to stay.
Right. So your off-peak season is, what is it, September to
Yeah, it would be
February, or-
September, to February, March. It would depend. I could be quiet. I could be quite quiet in July. It depends. You know what I mean? It's kind of Virginia's not very touristy at the moment.
Right. And you have the Pumpkin Festival
Pumpkin
coming up
Festival,
there.
yes,
For
that's
Halloween,
very,
is it?
very popular. Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. And I found now it's as the years goes on, it's more popular at Scott.
Right.
You know, because people are hearing more about it. You know what I mean, and it's advertised more or whatever.
And how would you get guests? I know you said a lot of people are passing trade; they just pop
Yeah.
into you. But do you advertise? Do you do any shows? Or
No, I'd be in. We'll say I'm in the Pumpkin Festival website, and I'm on the FLA website for Cavan. But a lot of it would be word of mouth or people, you know what I mean?
So do you like it? I mean, you're self-employed, so you know your time is your own, I suppose. Once your guests have gone and you've cleaned the rooms and everything, do you enjoy it?
I do. The different type of people you meet, you know what I mean? And then I'd have a lot of people, we'll say, from England that comes back to me year after year.
Yeah.
And it's just meeting all different sorts of nationalities, and
Yeah.
even I've had a couple of Spanish that would have very little English, but the language barrier is not really a problem. You know what I mean? You kind of get over it.
Yeah.
But it's very interesting, yes.
Yeah. And would you find a difference in dealing with, we'll say, maybe Italians versus Americans versus
Germans.
English or Germans?
Yeah.
Is there a difference in
There
culture?
would be like, well, what would I say? The Germans now are quite, I like the Germans, you know what I mean? They're quite witty and, you know.
They won't leave you in debt anyway.
No. I hope not. No.
I mean, have you had any bad experience where people have left?
I've had maybe once in
Right.
the 10 years.
Right.
But normally you kind of, you can judge, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
But the whole thing about it is just leave it. I like it very homely, and you know, you get a feeling from the customer that come in whether they want to chat or they're you know, or they're interested in, you know, whatever, or if it's just want to be quiet or whatever. You know what I mean?
And would they wander off into Virginia now and have a pint or have a
Yes,
meal?
see, that's where it's handy, because I'm just a walking distance into the town, and I'm out of the town.
Right.
So a lot of people like to know where they can eat, and they'd like to just park the car and go down and have a few pints and have a nice meal.
And Marion was in with us earlier, the tourism officer
Yeah.
of Cavan, and she was saying that a lot of the fishermen are now coming back,
Yeah.
and that they love
Yeah.
the B&B
Yes.
type accommodation because
Yeah.
it's the family
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
homely.
Yeah.
I suppose that's one of your selling points, is that
Yes.
you're small and it's, you know, personal
Personal,
attention
yes.
that they
Yes.
get, rather than a hotel where you're
Oh
just
yeah,
a name. Maybe.
yeah. Well, I used to have a few fishermen coming now from Liverpool, but they were coming to Virginia for years.
Yeah.
But they're inclined to hire, we'll say, a house, you know, but they come for a long term. They come for maybe 3 weeks or
Right.
whatever. But short term, I've had fishermen. I have a guy comes from Dublin, and he fishes the lakes in Virginia, and outside Virginia as well. And I have another couple of guys comes from the north of Ireland. I had 4 of them.
Right.
They would come down and spend maybe a Saturday evening and go off again.
Right.
But long term, I wouldn't have any fishermen long term.
Yeah. And it's B&B you do mostly, Pauline. Would you consider going into the evening meals end of it?
No. It's quite time consuming.
Yeah.
Because I would do a lot of the work myself, because I wouldn't take in enough to employ somebody else.
Yeah.
So you're kind of you're the laundry woman, you're the chef, you're the
chief cook and bottle washer.
the waiter.
The whole thing. And I mean, say just in terms of somebody goes out and they have a few drinks or a meal or whatever in Virginia and they come home late.
Yeah.
Do you have to be there? Do they have their own key and they just come?
Oh no, they have their own key. Once they have their key, I don't care what time they come in at, you know, as long as they're
they can
in
do their
safely
own
or do
thing.
their own thing. Oh yes. It's run like it's I mind my own business. You know what I mean? Whatever they do, it's their business or whatever. Yeah.
Right. And any plans for expansion? Maybe a couple of extra rooms or?
When I get rid of my son and daughter.
Oh, you still have them as well.
Well, yeah, my son is going to college or whatever. I'm only messing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind doing. Well, no, it's actually comfortable enough, the 3 rooms, but I wouldn't mind doing a 4th. But I'd just play it by ear. It depends.
And do you work yourself as well, or is
No.
it just the baby?
I'm just a housewife.
Right. Very good. Very good. Well, the best of luck with it. And I know that you've got a website, or you're in the process
yes, I'm in process of getting a website up.
Right.
And running, yes.
And how can people contact you then, Pauline?
I have a
For our
card.
viewers around the world, if they're coming to Virginia, this is the woman to stay with.
Yeah. Well, I have a card cards that I leave out or whatever. But my email address is millviewb millviewb_b@yahoo.ie.
Great. And then your phone number as well.
My phone number is 049 85 47175.
And that's Millview B&B.
Yes.
Great. Pauline, the best of luck with the gathering next year,
Yeah.
the Pumpkin
Oh,
Festival
yes.
and any other events that are coming up. And thanks very much for coming
Okay.
in to
Thank
us.
you very much, Angie. Thank you.
Well, I'm afraid that's all we have time for this week on Fashion and Lifestyle. I hope you enjoyed the programme, and I want to thank my guests Pauline O'Connell and Marion Smith for joining me here in the studio. And again, if there's any topics or events you'd like us to feature on the programme, you can email us at drumlinmedia@gmail.com. That's drumlinmedia@gmail.com. So until next week on Fashion and Lifestyle, take care and thanks for watching.